The next topic is growing middle class envisages an end to privileges. In the past, peasants and workers had participated in revolt against increasing taxes and food scarcity. Scarcity means shortage. So in the past, the peasants, that is farmers, and the workers had participated in revolting against the increasing taxes and shortage of food, but they lacked the means and programs to carry out full scale measures that would bring about a change in the social and economic order. So though they have participated in this revolt, but they lacked the different methods and program to carry out full scale methods so that they could bring a change in the social and economic order in their society. This was left to those groups within the third estate who had become prosperous and had access to education and new ideas. So these methods and procedures were left to those people who were within the third estate, who had become very successful and had access to education and new ideas. The 18th century witnessed the emergence of social groups termed the middle class, who earned their wealth through an expanding overseas trade and from the manufacture of goods such as woolen and silk textile that were either exported or brought by the rich members of the society. So in the 18th century, there was an increase, or you can say development, in the social groups, especially in the middle class, who earned their money through a expanding overseas trade. That means by doing the trade system through sea route and from the manufacture of different you can say goods such as woolen and silk. So at that time silk was very expensive and the demand for silk was in a higher rate as compared to at present. And by manufacturing this woolen and silk textile, they either export, that means from one place to other they used to do the trade system, or either they used to bring the woolen or silk from other countries in the France by the richer members of the society, that means the richer section from the third estate. In addition to merchants and manufacturers, the third estate include professions such as lawyers and administrative officials. So in addition to the merchants and the manufacturer, the third estate also had a profession such as lawyers and administrative officers. That means different types of officers who used to work under the French colonial rule. All of these were educated and believed that no group in society should be privileged by birth. So all these people, that is the merchants, different types of manufacturer, and the lawyers and administrative officers, they believe that that no group in the society should be given certain type of advantages by birth. Rather, a person's social position must depend on his merit. Rather, a person's own capabilities or qualities should determine whether he should be given more importance or not. These ideas envisaging a society based on freedom and equal law and opportunities for all were put forward by philosophers such as John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. So about the freedom and equal laws and opportunities for all, these important laws were put forward by the famous philosopher known as John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. In his two treatises of government, Locke sought to refute the doctrine of the divine and absolute right of the monarch. So in his book, John Locke also tell us about the different rights which were given only to the monarch, that means only to the king or queen families. Rousseau carried the idea forward, proposing a form of government based on social contract between people and their representatives. So Rousseau was the person who carried the idea or put forward the idea by to forming a a new type of government in which the social contact between the people and their representative should be there. In the spirit of the laws, Montesquieu proposed a division of power within the government between the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. So, in the spirit of the law, Montesquieu proposed a division of power. That means within the government that there should be a three division of power, just like in our country we have the legislative, executive, and judiciary. This model of government was put in the force in the USA after the 13 colonies declared their independence from Britain. So the same procedure which we have, they want the same procedure should also apply in the France also. The American Constitution and its guarantee of individual rights was an important example for political thinkers in France. So their main objective was to give equal rights to all the citizens in the France. The ideas of these philosophers were discussed intensively in salons and coffee houses and spread among people through books and newspapers. So the idea of these philosophers were discussed in different types of salons and the coffee houses and spread among the mass or the people through different books and newspaper. These were frequently read aloud in groups for the benefit of those who could not read and write. So those who were illiterate, for them the same information was read aloud in the group so that they can at least hear and understand what actually they were trying to say. The news that Louis XVI planned to impose further taxes to be able to meet the expenses of the state generated anger and protest against the system of privileges. So finally, when the third estate or the poor section of the society came to know that Louis XVI was planning to impose more taxes on them to meet the expenses of the state, that means their own government, these incident generated or increases their anger, and finally they protested against the system of privileges, that means importance given to first and second estate.